show them this very simple concept. That if you want it, you gotta go get it.
Do not be denied today. Every time you put these on, it's a privilege. It's a privilege, not a right to wear these colors.
Let's dominate today. One more time for everybody that loves us.
The only thing matters is a win. That's it. However, whatever it takes. Let's go, man.
Ball is out. Makes a move. Still going 15-10. Oh, my goodness.
It's time to attack.
This is the first time we've done the live video podcast, so tell anybody who might be watching what's Madden Allstars about. What's different about Madden Allstars? What are we?
Well, what makes us different is a couple of things. One, we do what's called money challenge. So we're most pleased that you'll put in $25 maybe just for one season, and then you have to re-up on $25 if you don't make playoffs. We ask for a $50 fee from Madden to Madden, and we never restart with 100 XP sliders. And so you can actually have a longevity of being able to build your team. And the reason why we take that $50 fee is throughout that entire Madden to Madden process, we have every 2 weeks or so, it's called a money challenge. It's usually $10 to $20 where you can win some money based on maybe having the most rushing yards, most rushing touchdowns, stuff like that. And if you have any questions, definitely ask us, ask one of the admins, and we can send you some pictures of the possibilities on that.
And actually, it's $20 or $40, right?
40
Yeah. So the annies are pretty good on those.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. So that's definitely what one of the a couple of the big differences. We also do a lot of cool things like faux headlines, newest headlines, and magazine headlines, so that they correspond to things that are happening within the league. Another one of our admins puts up promos every week of all the key highlight games that are coming up for the week, the Monday night football game, the Saturday night games, all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's like, it makes it like more of an immersive, just like more realistic league.
Yeah, more immersive.
Yeah, immersive. That's it. Thanks.
Feel like we're actually inside the league. Like we like to be able to do that. Keep everybody interested, also, and then also make you feel like, okay, we're doing something different than no other league. And also, like, say we even have a podcast. It's actually our first time trying this podcast out, and we think that it's probably gonna work out very well. So definitely see some big things coming in the future.
Yeah. Especially as we get more used to the software and how to use it. There's some cool features about it that we're just starting to figure out. So we'll get it as we go along. But at any rate, what's one of the first topics that you had on your list, Trey, that you want to talk about the league here?
All right. So first, we're gonna go over we're gonna call this kind of like some trends that's kind of catching on. As has been, the NFC has been pretty dominant. This Madden has all 4 Super Bowl wins, and also on top of that,
congrats to them for that. We know who's in that division.
I don't have one, but I only lose to the Super Bowl winners. So I don't feel too bad, but just JK on that. But with our standings, we're gonna go over our standings a little bit right here. Now this isn't the Daddy League standings. This is just based off top 6 teams I think in the league. I am a little biased. I put myself up there, but if anybody in the chat disagrees, you can put it in there. But we're not gonna start with them. We're gonna start with the Ravens. Actually had a really good game against the Ravens and Vikings. Which right now I probably put as two of our top 3 teams. For sure. We have the Ravens. They are 11-3. Like I said, they just had a tough loss to the Vikings this week, and we're gonna go over their roster just a little bit, go back through their impact players and just some stuff like that, so people can understand a little bit of why this team is so good. Just give me 1 second. Pull that up for you. Now, since he's in the AFC, what do you think about him? I know you played him a couple times, right, Kurt?
Look, the Ravens he's one of our better players. I think he just got caught this week in a tough matchup, but he's really adept at setting you up and setting his opponent up and then taking advantage of it. And I think he's one of the best players in the league at that. He gets you if he has any success with any one element of his game, you're going to be in trouble because he's really good at getting you to bite on things, and that's been my experience playing him.
Definitely. All right, so first thing we're gonna go over is the quarterback position, the position everybody likes to hear about. We'll go over his quarterback. His name is Bloom. Sorry.
What team you looking at here?
We're looking at Ravens right now.
Mm-hmm.
So his starting quarterback is a buildable guy. That's a rookie that looks like he drafted. And
That's Brendan Bloom, right?
Yeah, Brendan Bloom.
At Notre Dame, the 6'1", 223 quarterback out of Notre Dame, man.
Yeah, and he also has a 2-quarterback system because I can see why one guy looks like they have the speed, the other guy has the throw power. So he runs a 2-quarterback system, kind of like they do in college. Something that's very successful if you can run it right in a league like this with 6 type of style. But his next.
Who's that? Kelsey Hood you're talking about?
Yeah, Kelsey Hood. Yeah, Joe Flacco is he just mentoring the young guys. 13 years in the league. You know, he's kind of past his prime, so he helps mentor the 2 young quarterbacks in the meeting room and keeps them up to date.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Kelsey Hood. He came over in the trade from Detroit, so he's only actually been in Baltimore for that 1 year. But it is interesting how they've broken up the passes between them. I'm not aware of any injury history between the 2 quarterbacks, so that's a pretty unique situation where they're trying to take advantage of having the 2 different skill sets on the court from the quarterback position.
Definitely, and that actually is definitely key when it comes to how he plays. Like we said before, he's one of our best users, and he seems to use every element of the game
Yeah.
So we'll go over just the key positions. So of course we have his running back. His running back's an 80 overall guy. He's pretty fast. Lewis
Rowe, right?
Yeah, Lewis Rowe. He looks like their lead back. Haven't personally played him myself, but I'm pretty sure he probably uses some of these other running backs, such as Pierce Robertson and Harvey Duncan, possibly at times, just switch it up.
Well, Lewis Rowe's already got 1,000 yards on the season, so it tells you the type of game that he likes to run. He's got a 4.8 average, and he's already got 14 touchdowns on the season. Whenever you see a type of totals like that, you know that the user, the player, is really adept at putting the running back in positions to succeed. And when you get 14 touchdowns with your running back, that's not just big plays, that's goal line effort, and you got to give Ravens a lot of credit for that. Rowe, I think, was a draft pick, an early draft pick a few years ago.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that. I'm looking at it right now. That's definitely the lead back. Right now, I can't quite look at where he was drafted, but
he was a late first round pick. I'm sorry, he was the 11th round pick in the second round.
Second round.
Yeah.
Pretty high value.
By the Mounties. Yeah.
And then just to go quickly through some of his other positions at receiver, he has an aging Dez Bryant and a Brashard Pyramid. Looks like his 2 lead receivers. Definitely, again, as we talked about before, he's really good at using different types of players and putting them in the right situations. So he has Pyramid for the speed, and it looks like Dez Bryant for.
Yeah. His receiving core is not doesn't appear super strong on tape. On paper, but he's a guy who really he really gets you to focus on the run, and then he puts the ball over the top and relies on the speed. And Vincent Banjo is one of those guys that really brings that unique skill set to the team that allows them to stretch the field like that. That's something they've been doing for a long time since they had the wide receiver Brandon Cooks. They had Brandon Cooks there early on, and they were doing similar things with him. So certainly Vincent Banjo following in those footsteps as the deep threat to that system.
Most definitely. So going over to the defensive skill positions and seeing if he has any impact players on that side of the ball. Looks like he has a Marlon Humphrey. Looks like his impact player on defense. One of the corners.
Yeah. Marlon got 7 interceptions on the season. I'm not sure where that puts him in the league. If you can check on the user stats on that trade, that'd be great. But Marlon's been a real bright spot for that defense with 7 interceptions. Anytime you're getting that type of production out of the quarterback position, you're making an impact on the games. So he's got to be happy about the play from Marlon Humphrey there. But not a lot of other eye-popping statistics on defense, and that's not, the team's still performing very well on the field, and they're one of the better teams in the league, obviously. So, but it's interesting to see that they're having that type of success when the leading sack getter on the team is Zach Brown with 6. And it looks like he may be one of the only guys on the team that's even registered a sack on the season. So the Ravens just not really getting a lot of pressure on the opposing offense.
Yeah, and it looks like he's actually tied for tied for 4th in the league in interceptions with Jamal Adams of the Mountains with 7 interceptions. So it's definitely Marlon Humphrey's definitely.
Yeah. So what's the Ravens' record on the season? Did we just report that? Let me see the standings here. Yeah, they're 11-3. That's a great year for the Ravens. That's a good push. He's been real active in pushing and playing his games and making a real impact on the season. So that's interesting. The Steelers, I believe, are the defending AFC champs there, at 9-3, right behind him. I just had a tough game against them myself this week against the Steelers. They're a good football team, a well coached, well played team.
Oh, most definitely. Definitely the class of the AFC. As we spoke about before, the NFC is pretty strong. It's not just top heavy. We have a lot of guys even in the mid range. We have a lot of guys probably not even make the playoffs in the NFC, but the AFC, we definitely have some really good guys up there that are some heavy hitters that we can't sleep on, regardless of maybe some of the kind of playing on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
And the Steelers, their leading interception getter is Artie Burns. He's definitely been a guy that they've had since the beginning of their tenure here. So it's a guy that he's definitely helped build into one of the top guys in the Ryan State's year, second on the team in interceptions. And then the leading sack getter looks like it is Tyrone Daniels, rookie out of Louisville, with 11 sacks on the year.
That's fierce. Anytime you're getting 11 sacks, you're making a difference. Is that you say that's the Steelers you're looking at there?
Yeah, Steelers, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a tough out. Who we got? Is this the Vikings?
Yeah.
This is the champ right here, face to face.
Yeah, I can't hold that title right now, man. I don't hold that title.
Let's see those golden thumbs. Let's see the golden thumbs. Come on.
Gotta give all respect to Red Dragons. He's the champ right now. I went on a three-year killing spree, undefeated, but he definitely dethroned me last year, and actually knocked me out week 1 of this season. It forced me to go 13 in a row. 13 in a row since week 1. But yeah, we're focused. We're hungry. We don't like being dethroned, so we didn't take too kindly to that. So we're prepared. I had a tough Ravens game earlier today. I guess he's like the 1 seed over there in the AFC.
Did he get you?
Oh no, he didn't get me. It definitely wasn't no blowout, but I definitely respect his game. Me and him was chopping up before we played. We was looking forward to it. It was like yeah, we on some different stuff right now, but it actually came down to a couple goal line stands. He had three shots to tie the game up. but that Vikings defense, as it's known to be, is we clicking all cylinders right now. But just going through the team and some of the stats, we actually have Anthony Barr leading the team in sacks for 7.5 in his 7th season. So that's a luxury. Danielle Hunter is Danielle Hunter, you know.
You had 3 interceptions with Lucas.
Lucas is nasty. Lucas had 3 interceptions just this week against Don't Blink. He definitely that's them and a touchdown. So he had a tackle for loss, three interceptions and a touchdown. That's definitely grounds for defensive player of the week against a very good opponent.
Yeah, I smell a headline on that one.
Yeah, bro was dead.
Yeah, 145 yards rushing on the game too. That must have made things a little bit easier on you. But your whole offense really, you didn't seem like you had any trouble moving the football. You put up, over 400 yards of offense. So you must have felt good about the way you're moving the ball. And you had turnover differential. You didn't turn the ball over at all. So
We only had 4 interceptions on the whole season.
you're gonna win a lot of games when you're playing like that.
So balance attack, run and pass game. I take what you get. You want me to run it down your throat, I'll run it down your throat. You want to take the run away, we can air it out. You want to play a short defensive game, we can play a short defensive game. You want to run it up, we're not gonna run it up because you can't run it up on me.
Yeah. So Tony Lucas, he's a 12th round or 12th pick in the first round. He's been in the league for it looks like 3 years, or is that right? 4 years? 4th year.
Man, Lucas was the man. I can't even remember what I gave up. I think I might have gave up. Did I give up 2 firsts? I might have gave up 2 firsts for Lucas. From the old Steamers, the Bucks transition to be the Steamers. I can't quite remember exactly what I gave up, but I want to say I gave up. But I definitely gave up at least a first. I might have given up an early first and then my first, like a championship first, like a 30-second overall. To get Lucas last year, I hand built Trent is the back who is just as nice. 96 speed, 89 man, 92 zone, 87 play rate, 6'1".
This Tony Lucas?
I was talking about his counterpart, Trentavious. Trentavious is the one I hand drafted. Lucas I traded for. And then built up. But yeah, Lucas is having a Pro Bowl year, especially after that performance today.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So you've got some elite speed at both corner positions and really elite talent, and both in their prime, really.
Yes, and peaking at the perfect time. And the quarterback of that defense was a former Raider. So shout out to Kirby. We got a quarterback at free safety.
Well, let me just say, in good conscience, that we fought tooth and nail to keep from raising the experience meters or whatever you would say that and this is a great example of it. So for a team like you now, both of your cornerbacks are basically shutdown quarterbacks in their prime. You're clearly one of the best players in the league, and that's not going to change anytime soon. So we expect you're going to have a deep run into the playoffs again. Your experience on your players is going to go so much further. And then the only argument that I heard that made any sense was that, well, as the players get older that they won't advance as fast. Well, what about the ones that aren't old? Because you're also good at building a football team. And now Trentavious White and Price are going to be, you should expect significant experience boost for one more season, and we probably have 3 more seasons of football to go, so your future looks bright in Minnesota, to say the least.
Yeah, I just went over the contracts for trade. That's what I'm saying. I was against the XP raising, but we'll move past that. But my young corners are already signed for 6-7 years. Next we want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we could possibly change, and just want to have some good debate about some possibilities and some things that anybody in the chat or between the three of us that we have. So the first start was we want to go over a possibility of doing what I would call a minimum amount of games played. Because I know everybody wants to be able to get their games in, and especially with the amount of money that we're asking for, we want people to have a realistic opportunity to compete in all our money challenges. So one thing that we're going to start doing, hopefully starting this getting this league next league year, is add a minimum amount of games that you have to play in order to stay in the league. Now, it's not going to be an automatic boot or anything like that. We've never been the type to be so super hard pressed on the rules, but we do want to enforce them to a certain extent. So if you don't, at the end of the season, if you haven't played, we would say 12 to 13 games, you'll be what's on probation, which means there's a possibility that you might lose your team if we don't hear anything back from you starting the next year. Just something to, like I said, promote people to start playing the games more, and the commission team might come up with some other types of incentives for our players that play all 16 games.
Yeah, man, I like it. Yeah, that's something else that we've tried to implement in the past. We can use the help, and guys sometimes reach out and say, how can we contribute and be part of the league? Well, what we could really use is somebody to track attendance, and we have it really broke down pretty easy. If you have access to a computer and have any ability with spreadsheets with Excel, and even if you don't, it's pretty. What we're asking you to do is really easy stuff. Anyway, and just enter the data. All you have to do, and you don't even have to do it every week, because you can go back through and see how if somebody's played the game, or if it's been simmed, or if a sim was set, if an auto sim was set. And so you can fill it out that way. So you could wait for a week or two and go through a couple of advances, and then go back and fill in the chart to account for who's playing their games and who's not. And it's all about raising the standards, just like this podcast and everything else that we do. And I think that's something that we could really use the help with. So if anybody watching the show who's in the league is interested in helping out and doing that, we will reward you with money.
Okay. Yeah, most definitely. And then another part of that is actually before we get into this, we're gonna talk about. We actually have a question in the chat.
Oh yeah, what's the question?
After that, he's enjoying this live podcast and everything aspect of this equal state entitlement. How are we going to decide?
Okay, definitely a good question. We haven't exactly figured all that out yet.
What was the question, Trey? Repeat it for us.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he asked first off if we were gonna last to Madden 19, and if so, how are we gonna pick teams?
So yes, we 100% are going to last to Madden 19. This is our third year running straight, and even broader if you count the sister leagues that we have. Been around for 5 years. So yeah, we're not going anywhere. And as long as you guys keep showing up and participating, a big thing that's going to tell us, and this is something I wanted to talk about, Trey. A big thing that's going to come up real soon is that we're going to have a re-up for league dues. There's going to be another probably 2-season period left, and we're going to come back to the league and say, if you want to play and participate in these money challenges, that you'll have to re-up on your league dues, because we have half of the league at least is new members, and half of them probably haven't paid league dues, and we don't have the funds to keep paying all these for another several seasons, which the league will run regardless. So if we can't pick up enough guys to run the money challenges for several more times, then we'll still run the league out through the rest of the year, just like we promised, and we'll restart when the new Madden comes out. As far as team selection goes, I think what we did was very successful this year, but I'm going to defer to the rest of admin. I think we've got the best admin team I've ever worked with. And I respect you guys a lot, and I think that I want you to have a really strong hold on the direction that the league goes. And so I think what we'll do is just all talk amongst admin and come up with a plan that we think is going to serve the league the best. And I'll be a component of that. The league will be a component of that. So if we want to have maybe we'll have a poll, maybe several polls We'll talk to guys, we'll call guys. You know, we respect everybody's opinion and try to get as much input as we can. The main thing is we want the league to succeed. This year was a real struggle, and we didn't get to do half of the things that we were hoping to do. Really, literally half of the things that we were hoping to do. Because we were spending so much time focused on keeping the league strong and replacing members. You know, and whatever, for whatever reason, I think that's something to do with Madden, something to do with whatever. But here we are, we're doing, and I think we're stronger right now, Trey, than I think we have been all year long, really. You got some really great players, league's full, you know.
Yeah, we got some really good talent in there, man. I appreciate some of these new users coming in here. One shout out, one thing I did want to talk about is not necessarily surprising, but a team that we definitely want to also talk about is the 49ers, man. Came in here, did a great job his first season, had some issues for a quick second, came back, still balled out. He has a chance to possibly make the playoffs. So I just want to give a shout out to the 49ers, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, 100% in that division too, man. Just came in with a lot of respect for him too.
Yeah. So next part of what we want to talk about is some other ways that our users can help us, help them, which is make some small content. So something that we're also going to talk between the admin about is possibly implementing a incentive system based off and we'll have some incentives that we'll talk about, and we'll ask how to do that. But definitely something to look forward to next season. So be prepared. Just write a couple sentences about after your game, about how your game went, and we'll give you more information about that probably in the next podcast before we get in next season.
Yeah, right on. So Trey, did you have any ideas about? It's an interesting thing for them to bring up team selection for next year. I think it's a little premature for that. But was there any feedback you were getting from the league, or any ideas that you had for next season that you wanted?
Well, definitely. I mean, I haven't really talked to them again. Like I said, kind of premature, so I really haven't talked to anybody about it. But that was some of the feedback we got last time. Some people not necessarily getting the team they wanted, and so on and so forth. So I think how we're going to do it this year, as we spoke about before, we're going to have to get a lot of people in there and figure it exactly out. But I think what we did, something similar to what we did this year, I think will be great. Definitely some of the people that got the teams, like, I mean, I got my Falcons as a CBUGA fan. And Vikings got a pretty good team. Oilers got one of the teams he wanted. There's a lot of people that got some of the teams that they're really interested in. And we like to try to find people that are fans of the team. Now, again, that's not going to guarantee that you would get that team, even if we did the exact same system. But we definitely take some of that stuff into account. And also want to be able to spread out some of the competition and not have, hopefully a little less lopsided, competition-wise next year. So, stuff like that we're definitely going to take into account. But, again, we're open to any idea. So it's not that said it's not home. But similar to that would definitely be beneficial to all of our users and be able to keep the competition going in the league.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think it's a helpful way to look at it too. I personally like the way that we did it this year. There was a lot of pushback on it because guys felt like if they didn't get the team that they wanted, that it wasn't by chance. It was because they were selected to get the bad team. And I can certainly understand why somebody would feel that way and why that would not feel, but it really wasn't a reasonable thing, because we actually were able to line up the majority of the league. I believe at the beginning of the year we had 22, somewhere between 22 and 26 of the teams were placed with one of the top 3 teams that somebody wanted to play with and were open to playing with. So almost the entire league got at least one of the top 3 teams that they wanted if they were going to play in the league, and I don't feel like you can ask for much more than that. And then the rest, nobody's going to want to play with the Jets unless you're a diehard Jets fan. So if we can't find a diehard Jets fan, what do you do? Somebody's got to take them. So anyway, but we're gonna. I think really what we want to do is make sure that everybody is comfortable with what we're doing. So we'll make sure that we're taking everybody's input and
Well,
That's ideal.
that's definitely something that we're gonna do, and we appreciate all the feedback that you guys give. I know sometimes the narrative is that we're not listening and everything like that, but that's not necessarily true. Sometimes we just don't agree with exactly what is being said, but at the end of the day, we're always gonna listen. I have open ears, and if you have any questions about anything, definitely feel free to talk to any of the admins. All of us are very personable. Can talk to anybody and have a conversation. Even if you want to call us too, just make sure you ask a good time and talk some stuff out. So we definitely want everybody to be happy and be ready for next season because Man 19 is going to be a great year just like this year.
It'll be interesting to see what changes they come up with, but I feel like there's a lot of football left to be played here. I think we've got probably the game doesn't come out until the end of August.
Yeah, we got 5.
Yeah, so guys really need to chill and now is when I think the league will be at its best. It's when it's going to be the most fun because we are. This is like for the guys that have been here from the start and stuck through the league for this whole time. All of those roster moves that you made are really coming to a head. Now the contracts that you wrote make a difference. The players that you drafted are your better players. All your old players that were the really good ones that you had. Most of them are all either moved on or retiring. So it's a fun time for the guys that like the team building aspect of the league.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that, as we spoke about, that's why we felt as a commish team and some of our long tenured users were more so on the side of not having the XP raised, but we can understand why some people want the XP raised. They feel like it would give them a little bit of an advantage, but all in all, just to speak on some of that aspect is that, like you said, I mean, even going through my team per se, most of my players aren't players that would be good, that still would be good anyway. Based off if I would have kept just the players that were here. I mean, we have Tevin Coleman, of course, that comes with the team that you start with, and then we got Big Beasley and Keanu Neal and Dion.
Well, Tevin Coleman put up another 1,000-yard season for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. He progressed pretty well. But I mean, even the player that I drafted, we have Henley. He's an 8th-year development, 22-year-old receiver. I have almost my entire offensive line, besides one of the only free agents I picked up the entire season, the entire league year. Cam Robertson. They're all drafted guys that I built. And then of course right now we're starting actually two of our younger corners, trying to get them to Pro Bowl status and relevant. So I mean, it's definitely a lot of team building aspect in it.
What players were they, Trey?
We have Calvin Todd, which is my rookie that I drafted.
Nice.
And then also Soma Reynolds is my 1 year. Guy's only been in the league for 1 year. It's his second season he's starting. So those are my two.
Calvin Todd, he was a first round pick for you in this last draft. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
He's another one of those. He's a good speed corner, good development cornerback, but a lot of questions coming in from the draft. He's held up well for you though. Oh
yeah, most definitely. One of the key things is always like drafting your type of players. I mean, with the type of cover scheme that I play, gotta have some speed outside because you can't get beat down the sideline. So I definitely put some value in keeping guys that can hold it down out there. And then I have my veterans that actually are able to also mentor these guys and actually help them out when they're in the slot and they're able to pick off some passes and be disruptors in the slot. So it's definitely a special scheme that I run that has been working for me pretty well.
Well, with the Vikings in the room there too, I'd be curious to hear you guys' take on how important how much do you value cornerbacks in this year's game, and especially how much do you value the fast cornerbacks?
He actually stepped out, but I can help answer that question just a little bit until he gets back in time. Definitely last year, I think it was a little bit more important to have the speed, but the type of defenses that we run are more keen to having fast speed at corner, even if they're not as skilled at the time. But again, in his case, yes, fast speed and skill. But again, it wasn't like he's so we definitely value that. Again, part of the team building process. You can start your own for an extended amount of time, or sometimes it's good to throw your rookies out there into the fire and get them some reps. And so that's definitely a key part of the reason why we feel like we're able to do that is because we have a different type of way of team building, and we also talk about it, about different ways to team build. So it's that's why we like this man-to-man type thing, and I think a lot of our users in here agree with us about that. Is that extra level of team building? Because most leagues, not gonna lie, last a couple of years and usually they restart. So you don't have to think about 5, 6, 7 at the beginning of Madden years down the road. I mean, the full disclosure, when I first got the Falcons, everybody's like, "Oh, you have the Falcons," but they realized the Falcons are in cap hell. They started cap hell. I mean, there's almost no way to sign off your players, so you have to strategically trade players at the right time. You have to cut players at the right time. You have to not re-sign some players. You have to re-sign the right players, and then make the right draft picks. I mean, if I wouldn't have hit on some of these draft picks, I mean, my defensive line, I had one guy that I remember. You remember me drafting Carly Hinton.
Yeah.
Charlie Hinton. Hinton. Remember me drafting him. He was super. I got him in the 6th round, superstar development, and he's an 88 overall, year 3, with 100 XP.
Yeah. What position was that again, Trey?
Left end.
Left end there, yeah. That's one of the things that we're trying to impress upon guys. But look, I think I know we're right about the topic. Because we've been building these teams for the last 5 seasons. And really, by NFL standards, that's about how long it should take to really develop a guy into a superstar player. There's exceptions. There's very few exceptions, but there's exceptions here too. There's guys here that draft a guy, and a season later he's in the 90s. Look at the Fields, the running back for the Saints. So there's these there is people who transcend that quality of player, excel beyond that quality of that standard. But this setup works, I think, very similar to how the NFL works, where you really need to take a rookie and develop him properly, putting him in the right situations. He's got to succeed. He's got to play well. He's got to get some stats, and develop over 2 or 3 seasons before you have a quality player. What is a quality player? I think anybody who's in the mid 80s and above you've developed. That's a really good player. If I could hit one player in every draft that did that, I'd be doing pretty well. So I think that's one of the things. But the bottom line is that regardless of whether we're right or wrong, if the majority of the league doesn't think we're right, then you're not going to have a league if everybody's disgruntled. So regardless of whether we feel that's right, and we know because we've been here for that long, if we want to keep the league together, we may need to make concessions, and so I think that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, most definitely, man. So I mean, yeah, but again, this is not to bash the people that wanted to change the XP or say that they're wrong.
For sure.
We're all we're doing is trying to show that this is what this league is about. It's about the longevity of being able to build your players throughout a couple of seasons, and not just having one season and the guy automatically be your guy. Because like I said, we all from the guys that have been here long term, like I said, you, the Vikings, and myself. We all have a couple players, like I said, that we put in a lot of work and time and effort, putting in the right situations, finding the right fit for them, and not putting them in bad situations where they end up being a dud.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely something that we want to stress. And if anybody has any questions about how we do this, and feel free to ask any of the top guys. I mean, ask Red Dragons, Saints, myself, Kirby, Vikings. don't blink. All of us are really good guys that who willing to help you out. Now, I ain't gonna lie, if you're in my division, I'm probably not gonna help you out as much. So I'll definitely give you a couple tips and tricks and tips.
Yeah.
How to build players in a league like this that's gonna last. I mean, it's gonna last the whole time. So why not put in the time and effort to get your guys to where you want them to be?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'll testify to that because you've helped me. And a few other guys have reached out too, and it has helped my game. So the only thing is, if I could use my custom playbook, you know, a lot of it's the craziest thing. It's terrible.
And I haven't heard about anybody. I heard about last year a lot, but this year I haven't really heard anybody having that problem. That sucks for you, man. I definitely we can get with it. You figure something out. But
It's painful because I think I have like the best playbook, and then like. I just finally felt like I finally figured it out, you know, where you could remember where all your checkdowns were, because you got all these plays, you keep adding them and changing them and moving them, and it's hard to like keep track of all where the checkdowns are, and I finally felt like, all right, I've got it worked out, and then it starts crashing.
perfect. We could definitely I have a way I think we can figure that out, but we'll talk about that offline.
All right. So what else you got for us, Trey?
Let's see. Give me 1 second. I have to actually look at my little list.
Well, while you're looking at that, Trey, I'll just take a quick look at our Daddy League site. For you guys that aren't on the league's website, get at me and let me know. We can get you signed up here so you have all the access. You can see it on your screen now. And the main thing here, you can also get a link to our Twitter feed. Here you can see one of the week's headlines. Where the Chiefs had the tough game there in Texas against the Texans. But you can get a link to all the league content. We post it all on the Twitter feed, and it's an easy way to access it. You can either go directly to the Twitter or on to our league here at Daddy Leagues. And also get a link to all the cool content that you've seen throughout the show.
Great. So, another thing, anybody else has any questions, of course, like I said, put it in the chat. We'll try to look at that before we go. But the only last thing I really want to talk about would be just, some playoff, what everybody's looking for the playoffs, to go over the standings just a little bit. So, I know it's not 100% set in stone, but I mean we're nearing the end. We only got 3 more weeks left.
Oh, it's serious now. Yeah, we're there.
Yeah, so we'll start with the AFC. So it looks like the only 2 teams that have clinched their playoff berths are the Steelers and the Ravens. Mm-hmm. Both of them have clinched their playoff spots. Teams that are in the hunt, they are fighting for those last 4 playoff spots, are going to be the Texans, the Broncos, the Black Knights, the Titans, and probably the Diablos. And it looks like there are some other teams that are down there.
Well, in the AFC, the Titans, Colts, Raiders, Diablos, and Browns are all tied at 6 and 7, and they're the 7th seed. So they're basically all 1 game out behind Kansas City for that last wild card spot. So technically, there's still the AFC. That last wild card spot is up for grabs. Among several teams. Although I'm not sure exactly how the odds break out with games played.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So that's something again like we talked about before. Next season you're not gonna have these problems because we're gonna have guys that you're gonna have to play all your games. You're not gonna be able to just coast into the playoffs with these last couple games where people just want to go on. We're definitely gonna change that. But right now, as it is set, yeah, it's probably gonna be a couple guys that might just slide in there because they didn't have to play anybody. But the AFC definitely technically is wide open. So I mean, if you're in the hunt and you're listening to this podcast, I would definitely get on your horse, get in the lab, get ready because you might be able to make the playoffs and hopefully be able to upset some of these top teams such as the Broncos, the Steelers, and the Ravens.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm really, really disappointed in myself for not. I thought the division was going to be mine this year, and I really believed it. But the way that I lost my games this year, I felt really good about the league just in general. that these are like legitimate losses. These aren't guys that are like abusing anything or playing bullshit. You know, it was straight up football. They were good competitive football games where I felt that I played well and the opponent just outplayed me. And I think that's really great for the league. I think that's really that's all I look for out of the game is, I mean, I want to win. I always want to win. But at least if the games are competitive and you're getting that struggle, that's really what makes it fun is even when you lose is the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. But at least when it's competitive, when you just go in and getting your ass drummed every week and you and you're not competing, it really takes the life out of the game. So and you notice that has been happening more and more. A lot of the new guys that came in and stuff, like they're really competing with our upper level players in the league, and that's really good because that'll be really healthy competition for the league. Is good for everything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, speaking of which, let's get to the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the NFC. Right now, the teams that have locked in their playoff spots are going to be the Red Dragons, the Saints, and the Falcons. Shout out Falcons. But yeah, so those are the 4 teams that locked in. And to be honest, just looking at the schedules the way it is right now, we probably actually have the other 2 basically locked in as well, which are going to be your 49ers and your Redskins. So the NFC, as I said before, I mean, got some good teams out here. Matter of fact, there's a Cardinals team that has a winning record, a Giants team that has a winning record that almost completely out of the playoffs. I mean, they have an outside shot, but they're probably not going to make it.
Yeah, it's a tale of two cities with the difference between the AFC and the NFC, and I don't think that it's it doesn't seem it'd be interesting to really take a better look here at the division and conference losses, but it doesn't seem like just the feel of the league. It doesn't feel like the NFC is really lopsided. The Super Bowls have been super competitive. The teams I think balance out pretty well. There's really good teams on both sides of the league, and maybe more so, more collectively on the NFC. There may be more better teams, but I think it's a pretty balanced league as far as competition on both sides of both conferences.
Yeah, I definitely think there's competition in both conferences. Looking at some of the AFC and NFC losses, let's see. So it looks like the top, all the so far, at least so far. Again, some of these teams have to play some more teams, but between the top four guys in the NFC, the Saints, the Vikings, the Red Dragons, and the Falcons are undefeated against the AFC this year. And then our 49ers has lost 1 game against the AFC, and then the Redskins have lost 2 games. And then we can go through the AFC, and the AFC has, let's see, NFC losses. The AFC, the top guys lost 2 games against the NFC. The next guy lost 1. He's 3-1, and then the Texans actually 1-3 against the NFC. So that's just a little bit to tell you some matchups. Of course, you can get some bad matchups. I mean, you play the Vikings, that's a bad matchup. But so there's definitely some competition there. Definitely getting to see some of these cross conferences competition when it comes to these games.
So who's the? But I know we probably are about ready to wrap up the show, but I would like just to give a shout out to a couple of our new users and guys that have joined the league. Has there been any guys that you've seen that have joined over the last couple of weeks that have stood out to you, Trey?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go to it right now. Let's look at some of these guys that have joined recently. Definitely, as far as activity goes, I like what we've been seeing from the Steamers guy. Mm-hmm. He's looking forward to our Week 17 matchup, so that'll definitely be a preview to how hard my division might be next year. Because already know me and Saints have it in for each other, but the Steamers guy that was here before was pretty tough too.
Yeah.
If this guy is even half as good as he is, it's going to be another tough year. So he'll get a game against the NFC champion, NFC South champion, 4-time. So we welcome to the division. The Chargers has also been very active. Definitely have seen him get his games in. And
Yeah. Shout out to the Chargers. I played him. I sometimes I can't understand it. I played the Broncos, who was the AFC champ 2 seasons ago, and then made it to the AFC Championship game against the Steelers last season. I played him to the wire. I beat him once this season. Played him to the wire in the second game, and played very competitively against the Chiefs as well. The Chargers comes in. I'm sorry, and then who was the the Steelers? I played the Steelers. I played him right down to the wire. It was a really extremely competitive game. Could have gone either way. And so you're feeling really good about yourself. I play the Chargers and he stomps me, and then I watch him and he plays the Chiefs. Yeah, and then he loses to the Chiefs by like 100 points. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, is it me? Am I? it's brutal. It's brutal. I'll tell you.
No, man, I definitely get it. I mean, sometimes tell too bad. I'll put it that way, man. It's tell too. You definitely look at some of your losses here, like as you said, you actually lost to the Ravens. I'm not sure if you actually played that one. It looks like played a couple times. Might have been them, but I'm not sure. And then you lost. Lost to the Chiefs. And then let's see what other games that we played. Then, like you said, that close loss to the Broncos, man, very tough loss there. You played the Giants pretty close. You played the Chargers. He beat you by 18. And then the Steelers, you only lost by, I think it was a late touchdown. He gave up right then, but pretty close game is there too. So, I mean, you definitely fight, man. You definitely fight. You just gotta finish, man. Gotta finish.
Yeah. I feel better about the season, but it's tough, man. These the league's really good. The competition is really good. It just is, and I don't have any interest in making excuses. So it just you got to deal with the competition that's there, and got to man up and get better. So that's what I try to do, and I feel good. I feel really good about my game. Like I said, as long as you're competing, I'm competing against the Broncos and against the Steelers consistently. So it is what it is. Sometimes you win some, you lose some, and I think I'll do good. And I think that's kind of the motto that the rest of the league should have, and seems to, because the games are mostly competitive.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, well, especially when you get some of these top guys going head to head. Matter of fact, I got a game against the Red Dragons. Everybody should tune into that one.
Is that this week?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Nice.
Tomorrow,
Nice.
8 o'clock on the dot.
Nice.
8 o'clock, but might be 9, but not 8 or 9 o'clock on the dot. So everybody definitely tune into that. It's gonna be a good matchup. One of like I said, top 4 NFC team. So I mean, it's definitely tough, man. I mean, there's a lot of games to be played, and once that playoffs start, man, you guys gotta tune in. It's gonna be some dog fights. I'm gonna let y'all know right now. AFC and NFC, there's gonna be some dog fights. So whoever makes the playoffs, don't expect there to be any easy road. If you win a Super Bowl in here, you earned it.
Yeah, and one thing that we would like to do, and we can talk about a little bit now. I would like to do, at least for one of the playoff games, is a similar show like what we're doing right now, where we can also show the broadcast of the game in live in real time, and also come in and comment on it while we're watching the game together, and kind of have like a situation like that. So be on the lookout for that when playoffs get here.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of good, like I said, guys. We're gonna have a lot of great content. Now, one thing we do need from you guys, like I said, is to be more active and make us feel good about doing all this stuff for you guys, because we want to do more, and the more activity we get, the more you get us to bust our butt, man, to give you guys as much content as humanly possible. So definitely appreciate the time curve. We gotta actually get out here. I'm about to actually go party a little bit.
Me too, man. Hey, listen, thanks for joining, and thanks for the show. And the next time, hopefully, we can get some guys to join in on us, and we'll expand a little bit on what we're doing here. But this was our first test run of the video, and it worked out well. So thanks for joining, and thank the Vikings for being part of it. And we'll catch you next time.